So, my dog. Tell me about your mallet.
The mallet. Well, it's just a standard dynamo one, but sprayed it with rubber to keep it the grip.
Sprayed it with rubber.
Sprayed it. Yeah, they have this. Plastidip makes a spray that you can spray on, and it keeps the grip. I don't let go of it as often anymore. So I sprayed that on the inside. Comes in different colors. I actually make them for all the guys at the arcade.
Oh, nice.
I kind of make it as a way to kind of keep them in the sport.
Sure.
So if they show up more than 2 or 3 times, I say, hey, I'll make you a mallet. What do you want? What colors do you want?
Awesome.
And then they bring it with them, and it kind of
gets them
invested a little bit.
Yeah. They have their own piece of equipment that they feel good about, you know. And then of course, you know, you're sort of mentoring them, right? By doing that,
yeah.
bring them in.
I wish I could show them more, but from what I know, yes, I've been showing them that.
Sure.
The centerpiece of it has a lot of the rubber padding on the inside of it. On the outside here, it has like a tennis wrap, and that also comes in different colors. So they get to kind of mix and match. This could be one color, this could be a different color.
That's cool.
The amount of padding that they want, and that helps for beginners, for calluses that are building up, including myself.
Yeah.
And it also kind of gets them into holding it the right way, because holding it like that doesn't feel as good with the padding on it.
Sure. Okay, cool. So, all right, so why don't you just say who you are and where you're from?
All right, my name's Nathan Buss. I'm originally from Paradise, California. Burned down in a fire 3 years ago, and so my family and I moved to Idaho.
So hold on, the whole city, or just
the entire town burned down 3 years ago.
I didn't hear
Did you hear about
this.
Paradise, California? All right.
Maybe I did, and it's just not ringing a bell.
North California. Did you hear about Oroville, the dam?
Oh, is this with right? Well, was this during all of the really big fires? Okay, yeah.
So we lived right next to where the dam was about to break, that they were all worried about, and then a few months later, a fire broke loose. It was a wildfire caused by an electrical company that had some sparks fly, and the town burned down within hours. It seemed like.
Holy smokes! Did anybody die?
80 people. It was so fast. It wasn't a slow build up and people had time to evacuate. People were stuck in traffic. There were people that were burned alive in their cars while they're trying to escape.
Where were you?
I was in my car in traffic for 5 hours.
What about your family? Where were they all at?
In cars getting out. My mom, my mom was told to get out and run at one point by firefighters, and she got out and ran, but then they said, no, everyone get back in your cars, we're gonna clear it. They got in their cars. There was fire across the road, a helicopter had to drop. Repellent on the road so they could drive through it.
Wow.
It was a bad day.
Yeah.
It led to much greater days though. Idaho is an amazing state to live in. I got to go to the arcade there and see that they had a dynamo table, a photon, and it's you pay one price and you get to play as long as you want for the whole day. And so I remember walking in day one to the owner and just saying, hey, does anybody play competitively on air hockey? And he laughed at me actually. He's like, no. And I said, they will now. This is the start of it. And now we're a few months in, and we have roughly 9 or so people that are actively showing up every single day, basically.
That's awesome.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and so what do you do for a living?
So before the fire hit, I worked in the behavioral health department for a year, and I was sort of my title was patient care coordinator. I was sort of in between psychologists, psychiatrists, LCSWs, and the patients.
Right.
And then after the fire, I worked at a hospital in near Boise for about 6 months. But then I found a job online working for a company called Theranest under Therapy Brands, and it's an EMR. So a therapist uses a program to keep track of appointments and
Sure.
I was tech support for a year, then they put me as a manager, so now I'm managing 36 employees. So.
All right. Wow. Well, that's a big change.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. So, how did you discover air hockey?
It's always been a thing of mine. Whenever I was in an arcade, I'd like to play a few games here and there, and I find it's the one sport that people can play twice in their life and think they're really good at. If they've won 2 games, they think they're really good at it. If you ask anybody if they're really good at football, they're probably going to say no or yes unless they're really good,
Right.
If you ask anybody on the street right now if they're good at air hockey, everyone will be like, yeah, pretty good. And a friend had a table for sale. It was a Rhino, different dimensions. I didn't know that, so I got it, and I had it for a few months before the fire hit. Actually, it was about a year before the fire hit. And I practiced on that thing. Became pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a terrible table.
Yeah.
The rule was if it flew off the table, and it didn't hit anything like a wall, if you caught it before it hit anything, you automatically won the game, regardless if you were playing that game or not. So if you were just on looking, you caught it, you're like, I just won. And only one person caught it. It flew off all the time, though. We hit a window with it.
But you bought that, but how did you originally discover it? Hockey?
There's a skating rink we go to every week, and there's an air hockey, table there. So I'd play it that way. It was never something I just discovered one day. It was just kind of always there.
Always around it. Okay.
Yeah. But having the table changed a lot. Getting the table and buying it just off of a whim, and then really enjoying it. Then playing on a dynamo and realizing that the dimensions were off on my table.
Right.
And everything I'd learned was garbage because even a few inches off of a table changes every single angle. The fire hit. I helped my mom move to Idaho, and she said, I'm going to get you one big present. What do you want? I'm like, I just want a dynamo table. And we found one. We didn't know it was a Dynamo Pro style. I didn't know much about it.
Sure.
I didn't know it was a competition table.
Right.
It's in beautiful shape.
Nice.
And so we got that in the house, and I started practicing. Then went to the arcade, started practicing more.
Sure.
I've really only been playing on a Dynamo table for 9-10 months so far.
Wow.
So,
wow. Okay. Wow. So is air hockey your first, what I would call passion pursuit, or have there been others?
I would say there's been a lot.
Okay.
I liked paintball.
Okay.
In our town, paintball was one of the big things. We even had a professional player in our town growing up, and he's still world famous.
Wow.
I like playing guitar. Not very good at it, but I like playing.
Okay.
So there's passions here and there, but I think this is easily the biggest passion. I've never flown anywhere to play anything else other than air hockey. So.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and what's the difference?
The community, the air hockey community is pretty dang strong. In a good and bad way. It gets heated sometimes, but that's good. I can say, hey, look at my mallet, and half the people say this is amazing, the other half will say this is absolutely terrible, why would you do that?
Okay.
And that's a good thing. It's very active. In other sports or communities, nobody cares.
Okay.
And there's a lot of care. There's a lot of people in there that are genuinely caring. They want me to grow. They want me to get better. Even competitors that I'm about to go up against will say, hey, this is what you need to look out for. This is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Because they ultimately want everyone to grow together because it's a growing sport.
Sure.
Okay. And so that's what kept me was, hey, I think I'm good at this like everybody.
Sure.
But what really kept me involved was a community saying, hey, let's grow each other and let's start this thing. Also, it's not huge yet. And the ability to be good at something, is pretty awesome.
The chances, the chances are better when there's, 100 competitors versus thousands, right? Okay, cool. So, what does air hockey mean to you?
There's quite a few things to answer that one. I mean, one, it's a way to get out of the house and have fun.
Okay.
It's a nice time pass. I think it is also extremely competitive, but not in the means of hurting someone's feelings, not in the means of, it's something really fast. It's a very quick game, and, it started just as a competition between two people. Anything could be a competition, but then it grew into a community. And I know I keep bringing that up, but even in Idaho, just me starting off and competing against a few random people, and they get really hooked on it. They want to win really bad. And then start showing back up, and now they've got mallets. Now they show up at my house, and now we've got a group building. And I've gotten many friends from that. It wasn't I had friends and brought them into air hockey. It was people started joining air hockey, and then we became friends.
Then you became friends.
Right. So this will sound very cheesy, but it became a family. There's a family involved in it. I know how cheesy that sounds, but it's the truth. I've gotten some best friends from playing air hockey.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to me? It means friendship, community, it means competition, and I think all those are important in our daily lives to grow.
Yeah. And to kind of continue with that growth, has air hockey changed you in any way as a person?
I think so. I think that it has helped me develop. There's highs and lows. In Idaho, I'm the only person who have ever competed, ever.
Right.
So I'm a big fish in a little pond over there.
Right.
So my ego goes one way, then I come over here and it goes the exact opposite way.
Right, I hear you.
And so there's ups and downs.
So how does that change you?
How does it change me? One, it's forced me to really study. I've never studied up on competition before. So I find myself, even yesterday, sitting and watching video after video of the people I'm going to compete against and seeing what their moves are, their offenses, their defenses, ways that I can cut through. And it forces me to ask others, hey, so-and-so, what can I do better against that person? Or, hey, can you play against me and show me what I'm doing? How has that changed me? I consider myself pretty independent. I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to learn this on my own. And here, you cannot do that. It's impossible. You can't just do it all on your own 100%. There's got to be some influence on you. And the more open you are to those influences, the better that you're going to be, I've found. Every mentality I've had of, I can do this on my own, hasn't worked out. Every time I'm saying, let me follow this guy's advice, or what's this person doing that's working, and I try it, and at first this doesn't seem like it's going to work, then it works.
Right.
And I would have never learned that if I hadn't opened up, been susceptible, and had the attitude of learning. And that's not like me. This isn't supposed to be some preachy moment, but every person wants to be able to do stuff on their own. It feels really good to do something on your own and conquer with it, but this teaches you to kind of let go a little bit and receive training. And that's not easy. But, yeah, so that changed me a lot. Getting out of my comfort zone and flying out. At the start, I haven't flown until these last few years, and so that's kind of fun. And being on my own. Usually on a trip, I'm with other people, family.
Oh, right.
So just being alone is new and unusual.
It's like going off and adventuring. It's almost like the hero's journey. You have to do it alone.
I remember going to George Anderson's house, and right before I get there for my first challenge match, there's a sign that says, approaching the Bridge of the Gods. And I was like,
great.
What?
Yeah. No.
I have to cross the Bridge of the Gods to go against George Anderson?
Yeah.
Apparently I didn't have to cross it. His house was right before that. I was like, this isn't intimidating or anything.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, that is how it feels. You get pumped up, you get some music playing, and you start finding things that help you focus, distracting things. It's changed me in a lot of those to disregard distraction, really focus in on what can help me to win.
Yeah. Is that something that can you take that experience and that change and apply it outside of the world of competitive air hockey?
Easily. Yeah. And not just in sports. At first, to me, this was just a fun sport, but being able to connect with others is a huge social piece that I think is kind of missing nowadays. We connect over social media.
Sure.
But it's rare that you and I are both watching a game. We're sitting here watching a game, and I go, hey, where are you from? Hey, what do you do for a living? I met people yesterday I didn't even know existed.
Right.
And we became friends yesterday. Now we are friends on social media, so we can connect and retain that friendship. But now we've got those links, so I'm not just standing in a big full room, but completely alone. And so having that commonality, be it air hockey, be it ping pong, be it whatever, being able to branch out and connect, I think that is important. And having a common goal, something in place to draw people together. So it's not just a sport. And then when you're there for others, there was a lot of people hurting yesterday. A lot of people lost. I was one of those people.
Right.
And so it's nice to lean on each other and say, hey, there's always an extra. Hey, you just got, in my case, 51st best in the world, which sounds terrible.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, that's
it's pretty good.
51st, okay.
You're going to beat almost everybody you come up against, in the world of people.
Right. And that feels pretty good.
Speaking of the world, I want you to imagine that we have the eyes and ears of the whole world. Everyone is paying attention. We got 5 minutes. What does the world need to know about air hockey?
It's a sport that anyone can play. I've seen a kid about yay tall playing on a table, and he couldn't reach. I mean, if the table started, he could only reach this far.
Right.
And instead of doing the typical throwing of the mallet, which isn't allowed, or whatever, walking to the side of the table, he looked down for a second when the puck was bouncing back and forth, and then he just dove full on, his whole body hit it in, and the entire arcade cheered because they did not expect this kid to do that. It doesn't matter anything, your height, age, sex, religion, doesn't matter. Everyone is on common ground on the table, and that's very different from other sports. It's also a sport that you can dive into with zero experience and be able to play against pros right now, which is pretty amazing. I expected to have to go through everything.
You're not excluded from that.
It doesn't exclude anybody. Many of the players will bring you under their wing right away.
Sure.
I would like to even send a shout out to Matt Lemoyne, just because he's the nicest guy in the entire world. But what would I tell everybody is that it's a community, and if you're looking for a group of really caring people that want to actually see you grow, then I would say that air hockey's for you. I think it's extremely fun. I think it's one of those sports that you think you're really good at, then you start playing a little bit and realize there actually are tactics. A lot of my friends say this is a
You're just hitting it.
People compete in this sport.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They're like, there's actual like moves you can do. Yeah, there really is.
Yeah.
And when they get past that, and they think they can win, and then they play, and they get addicted to it in a good way. It's fun. It's community building. It's friendship building. And it's easy to play. It's very hard to master.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the piano, you
simple,
can hit a note,
deep.
make a note. Violin, it's really hard to make a first note.
Gotcha.
Piano, you can push a button.
Right.
Air
Okay,
hockey,
interesting.
Air hockey is easy to play, hard to master.
So, what is a couple of fun questions to kind of wrap up? What is your best shot?
The left wall over.
Left wall over. You're right-handed or
Right-handed.
right-handed? And so left wall over. And so how are you? How do you do it?
Usually from the serve, because it really ticks people off, and it's really fun.
So
I grab the
you're
puck
serving
up.
this way and then left wall overing.
George Anderson taught me a thing where you take the puck and you bounce it off your wall to give to the player generally. So if you do that off the serve, it kind of throws them off, and then you make it look like it's going to be a right wall, but you just cut it.
So it bounces straight and it's moving up straight.
You actually are bouncing off the left wall. So it looks like you're going to do a right wall, but it's more of a cut. And
Gotcha.
it hits a left wall and goes over.
Cool. Okay.
And that one I've gotten a lot of compliments on.
Neat. Okay. So imagine that the universe is going to gift you a single shot that is championship caliber. What shot do you want?
That I don't already have.
Well, do you have championship caliber shots?
I get what you're saying. Well, I would say the one that I have the hardest time doing deceptively is a cross.
Okay. So is that what you'd want? You'd want a championship level cross straight.
Yep. That's what I would love.
All right. I like it. Well, thank you for sitting down with me. It's great that what you're doing out in Idaho. I hope that it continues. I really do. I want to see, your crew coming to an event, or all of us going and meeting the Idaho gang. And I think if we keep doing that around in spots, it will grow. Yeah. And, air hockey's been, kind of treading water for a long, long time. And we've wanted to figure out, what needs to happen for us to, make this a little bit bigger, And so what you're doing is a piece of that, I think. So appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks.